kind of interview can be nerve-wracking, especially college interviews, where the spotlight is on you and then all of a sudden your mind goes blank. And if you want to make the best possible impression you can in a very limited time, but you just don't know what to say. You worked really hard to get to where you are, and you're just really scared of screwing up your chance to get admitted to your dream college just for your interview. And if that sounds like you, don't worry, I got you, because today we're doing a deep dive into 7 mistakes that could make or break your college interview. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Karina. I'm a Harvard alumna and your favorite admissions consultant. Welcome to my channel where I share study hacks, practical frameworks, and admission tips to help you to get admitted to your dream school and elevate your life through education. But before we start, why do colleges even bother with interviews in the first place? College interviews are tricky. They have been known to be sort of a vibe check to see if the student would be a good fit for the school. Sometimes they're informational, other times they're evaluative, or a combination of both. It just really depends on the school. But in general, interviews do not hurt you, but it can really help to add a personal touch to your application. Because sometimes it's really hard to convey who you are, what are your values, and what is most important to you through your application alone. So interviews are your opportunity to make it all come to life, and in turn, it also allows colleges to highlight specific aspects of the school that might be of interest to you. You know, it's a two-way street. So it's not just about the school interviewing you, but you're also interviewing the school. So if the school reaches out to you for an interview, unless you have a really good reason not to do it, you should accept it right away to show your demonstrated interest of studying there and have this opportunity to ask any questions you may have about the school. Tip number 1, make their job easy. The first thing that you need to do after getting invited to an interview is knowing who you're speaking to. So take some time to research who that person is and what are their interests, so you can ask thoughtful questions. Usually those interviews are done by a school alumni. So make sure you know what was their major, what has been their career trajectory after college, and their hobbies. And here, a good LinkedIn search can do the job. Secondly, understand the college values and what they're looking for in their applicants to tailor your examples accordingly. And thirdly, sometimes your interviewer will have some information about you and sometimes they don't. After the interview, the person interviewing you has to fill up a quantitative and qualitative form to share with the admissions committee on how they ranked you across different categories that the university values and why they did so. So make it easier for them to write the best possible review that they can by bringing a copy of your resume, just in case it could help your interviewer to write a better report for you. Number 2, bragging about yourself. First of all, usually interviewers are alumni of the school that you're applying to, so be humble. I know that you're probably the best student at your school and you want to talk about all your top scores and accolades during your interview. But the people interviewing you have been there too. They have also built an impressive career and grades. So your grades are not going to really impress anyone here. And so many students here think that they need to come off super smart by talking about their GPA, their SAT scores. But your interviewer doesn't really care about that. So instead of focusing on your grades, focus on sharing stories that makes you memorable in ways that is hard to come by in your application. Secondly, humble brags when answering questions about, for example, your greatest weakness with answers that are not genuine is not going to impress anyone. Like, oh, I studied too much, is really not going to fool anyone. So instead, be vulnerable and focus on the growth and share with them openly what have you been doing to address those weaknesses. Because it doesn't really matter what your weakness is, as long as you've been doing the work to address it. Thirdly, don't talk negatively about your classmates, your teachers, your counselors, your school, or anyone else. Regardless of your experience with them, they have been a part of your journey and you should be thankful for having them in your life, for better or for worse. Number 3, sloppy first impressions. First and foremost, be on time. Because most often those interviews will be in a coffee shop, so preferably be there at least 15 minutes earlier. Again, the interviewer are usually alumni who have taken some time out from their busy days to get to know you. So please, please, please honor their time. Second, first impressions count. Smart casual is always a good call because it's always better to be more formal than more casual. No need to wear a tux here, but make sure that you feel comfortable and confident in what you wear. Because when you feel good about yourself, you tend to perform better. And if you're meeting the interviewer in person, don't forget to smile, make eye contact, and shake their hand as you introduce yourself. Those little gestures count. so take notice of it. And third, it feels like it goes without saying, but you'd be surprised about how many people simply forget to take those basic tips, like don't interrupt or don't be rude to your interviewer. And if your interview is online, make sure that you check that you have a connection that works, that you're in a quiet space, and that you have a good background for your call. Because again, first impressions count, so avoid sharing your messy room behind you. Make sure that your resolution and your sound is clear by doing test runs before your call, so you don't look sloppy or unprepared for your interview. The interview usually lasts anything from like 30 minutes to an hour, so make sure that you go to the bathroom before, so you don't have any awkward interruptions in the middle of your interview. Number 4, being a poor communicator. First, you don't need perfect answers to have a great interview. If you need more time to answer a question, it's okay to say something like, "That's a good question, let me think about that for a second," in case you need more time to think before answering. Avoid using filler words like like, you know. Instead, take a moment to pause and think through your answer before you start talking. Secondly, be concise. Instead of coming up with a laundry list of activities one after the other, focus on depth rather than breadth when answering questions by sharing specific examples that shows them evidence of your interest in it. Sharing your stories with a clear structure like STAR can help your interviewer to get a clearer picture of what you're trying to say by addressing the situation, the tasks, the actions, and the results. And to use the STAR framework effectively, first, you're gonna lay out the situation. Begin by setting the scene for your example concisely. Provide the context about the situation you were in, and focus on relevant details that directly relate to the question asked during the interview. Then, you're gonna be describing the task. So clearly outline the specific task or challenge that you faced in that situation by highlighting the objectives or goals that you needed to achieve. Then you're gonna explain the actions taken. So detail the actions that you took to address the task or challenge, and emphasize on the skills that you utilize and how you approached the problem, and any strategies that you implemented to solve it. And lastly, you're going to be discussing the results. So share the outcomes of your actions by focusing on the impact and the results achieved, and highlight any lessons learned from personal growth or skills developed from this experience. For example, if the interviewer asks you, "Can you provide me an example of a time when you demonstrated leadership skills?" You can start by laying out the situation by saying, "During my junior year, I was elected as the president of our school's student council. One of our main goals was to organize a charity event to raise funds for our local homeless shelter." Then you're going to be describing the task. For example, the task at hand was to coordinate the event, rally the student body for participation, and ensure we meet our fundraising target to make a meaningful contribution to the shelter. Then you're going to be explaining the actions. So for example, I began by delegating the responsibilities to the council members, and based on their strengths, I organized regular meetings to brainstorm ideas, set timelines, and address any challenges. I also personally reached out to local businesses for donations and sponsorships. And on the day of the event, I led the team in setting up, managing activities, and encouraging participation from other students. Then you're going to be finishing off by discussing the results. So in this example, the charity event was a tremendous success. We exceeded our fundraising goals by 25%, we raised awareness about homelessness in our community, and the event even brought the school together, fostering a sense of unity and empathy towards homelessness. Personally, I honed my leadership, communication, and organizational skills while learning the importance of teamwork and perseverance. In this example, you can see that structuring your response and using the STAR framework can help you to effectively showcase your leadership abilities and the positive impact that you had in a specific situation during a college interview. Then asking back questions. First, if you can find the answer to your question with a simple Google search, it's a bad question to ask. And if you show your interviewer that you didn't even bother doing a Google research before applying to the college or even coming to the interview, that's a bad sign. So instead of asking those really bad questions, you can leave a lasting impression by asking thoughtful questions and sharing some unique things about you that connects with why you're a good fit for the school, from a school tradition to exclusive school resources that makes you a good fit for that college. Secondly, you can ask them a question that invites a personal connection with your interviewer by asking them questions about their experiences at the college you're interviewing for. And that's because people love talking about themselves and sharing advice. So use this to your advantage by being the most interested person in the room. And here are some things that you can ask your interviewer. What is your favorite memory of X? What would you have done differently? What was your favorite class at X? And lastly, practice makes perfect. Practice as much as you can with your parents, with your friends, or even by yourself in front of a camera or in front of a mirror, so you get an idea of what the person across from you is taking away from this conversation. And don't forget to prepare for the most likely questions to be asked and have a 30-second elevator pitch introduction ready with the most important things that the interviewer should know about you handy and ready to go, so you don't leave the interview without sharing the most important information about yourself. It's good to have a good idea of what to say and prepare for your interview, but you shouldn't be overly scripted, because those interviews are focused on getting to know who you are as a person. So treat it as a conversation instead of a one-sided interview. Don't forget to lean into your curiosity and ask spontaneous questions throughout the conversation. And don't worry about being too nervous. Your interviewer has been in your place and knows how nerve-wracking it can be. And here are some questions that you can use to prepare for your college interviews. Tell me about yourself. Why X school? What do you usually do for fun? What would you like to do on campus if admitted? What subjects are you most excited about? What achievements are you most proud of? Tell me about a time where you failed. How would a close friend describe you? Tell me about a time when you were a leader. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And after the interview, don't forget to write a thoughtful thank you note to your interviewer, highlighting some of the things that you learned in the conversation, so the interviewer feels like you value the time that they took from their busy schedules to interview prospective students like you. Preparing for college admissions process can take a lot of time, and it can be overwhelming to learn all the nuances of how to get admitted to your dream school, searching all over the internet how to create an application strategy specific to you, or to stress over what you need to do to get admitted. And we all know that the time that you have in high school is precious. So instead of wasting hours and hours trying to find the answers on your own, without really knowing if what you're doing could actually help you to land your dream college, you can join my mentorship program in the link below, where I'm gonna help you throughout your admissions process with personalized advice to get you admitted. And as always, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. If you'd like to supercharge your learning and earning potential with a degree from a top university, you can also check out some resources I made available for you on this video description. And don't forget that the more you learn, the more you can achieve. So stay inspired, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next video.